Hello, I'm Sonia Wood from Oikos, and I'm going to share with you about the Purple Book, Learning Language Arts Through Literature. Now you might be wondering, how do I know if my child is ready for Purple Book? Or if Tan Book, the next one up, is what they should be doing, or if they should be doing the one before Orange Book. You don't quite know, because although you think that Orange Book is around about grade 4, because Blue Book's grade 1, and Red Book's grade 2, and Yellow Book's grade 3, and Orange Book's grade 4, it's not really grade 4. It's color-coded for a reason, and that is for you to get away from thinking about grades and to start thinking about your child's ability and their skill level. So how do you find that out? You go and do the placement test to establish your child's reading level and their grammar skills ability, where they're at. And then you will know they actually need Yellow Book because they maybe didn't understand a lot what they're taught at school, and so they've lost it, and now it's better for you to start them here. Or maybe they're young and they've been held back in school in the fact that they are ready to go jumping ahead with their language because it's one of their strengths. We can't know that sitting here, but you do know that as a parent, and we've put a placement test there for you to establish that, to work out where they fit into this particular LLATL program. Okay, so that's where you start, is first of all establishing that. But before I go away from that, I'm just going to quickly show you something. Look at Orange Book's readers. This is the sort of level that Orange Book reader is at. You can see the way it's laid out. There's going to be the odd picture throughout, and it's bigger writing, right? And you go to Yellow Book, the one before it, and this is the sort of level. Okay? And now you go to Purple Book, that comes after Orange, and you're getting thicker novels. This could be very daunting to a child that finds reading a struggle. The writing is all a little bit smaller. So you see they've selected these books very specifically to slowly advance a child in their reading. And then you get to Tan Book, and you've got, not just do you have smaller writing and a more in-depth novel, but it's actually more complicated. This is not easy for a child to read if they're 10 years old. And the other thing you need to realize is the maturity level, the content of the book. They might be an avid reader, but you've got to, as a parent, watch what they're reading. If they're a 10-year-old and they're reading books that are appropriate for a 15-year-old, it's not really necessarily right for them just because they are able to read that they need to read books that are way beyond their maturity level. So that's another thing to keep in mind, and rather keep the book level of what they're reading appropriate to their level of maturity. I have had parents tell me that their child is an avid reader and they can read anything, the newspaper and so on. Well, I'm not sure that little children need to be reading the newspaper. What are they going to read? That could be quite disturbing, and their maturity might not be able to handle that. So that is just a general, some ideas of what to think about when you are placing your children in the LLATL program. But let me talk to you about the Purple Book now. Here's the parent book, which is telling you day by day what to do and guiding you in teaching your child. And here is the student book. Up until now, there's been quite a lot of parent involvement in the process of teaching your child to read, and it continues to be so at Purple level and even Tan level. However, they are getting of the age by this level whereby they can proceed with some of the work in their workbook on their own without you needing to be right alongside holding their hand. And that's important too, to start training a little bit of independence and them learning to learn on their own without necessarily needing you right at their side. That is required at the Blue Book level, obviously. So you can start encouraging a little bit of independent learning from about the Purple Book onwards. The focus in the Purple Book, well, what it contains, first of all, is grammar, reading, vocabulary, spelling, composition, research, study skills, and higher order reasoning. It also focuses on oral presentation, poetry, folk tales, tall tales. That is the emphasis of this particular book. Those, like as before in the Orange Book, which I was sharing on a previous clip, it's broken into 4 units: research and newspaper unit and journal writing and so on. And then this one's got another particular focus, as I have mentioned. Purple also helps the parent and the student with lessons relating to speech making. So it has that to offer as well. And as I've explained on other LLATL books, let me show you why we have these readers in the order that we have them listed on the site. And that is because this is the order that they appear within the workbook. So the very first book study the student's going to do from their student workbook is going to be a book study on Farmer Boy, because that's the first book on the website. And you'll see that the cover looks like this today, and it might not look like that next month, because the covers keep getting reviewed and changed. So don't be concerned that you're getting the wrong book. It's the same content. They just change the artwork from time to time. So the first book is Farmer Boy. The second book is Trumpet of the Swan. The third book is Meet Addy. And then the fourth is Caddy Woodlawn. And now we've got this optional extra fifth book, which is Mr. Popper's Penguins. This is only here because there's quite a lot of excerpts in the book from different places, one place being the Bible, because all of the LLATL is basically Christian based, although it's got a big variety as well, as you've seen already by the readers. But sometimes they will keep referencing to a specific book that they have taken excerpts out of, and one such being Mr. Popper's Penguins. So of course we started getting a lot of requests for Mr. Popper's Penguins, because the children who were using LLATL, Purple LLATL, were enjoying the lessons that were relating to this particular title. So we got this book in for you. So that is why there's an extra novel with the purple book. It's not an essential. The other four are absolute essentials to be able to make the program complete and comprehensive. As is with all the other LLATL levels, there are 36 lessons in each book, but that doesn't mean you've got to do it in 36 weeks. You don't need to worry too much about how long it takes to do the book. You can watch the introduction clip that I did on the LLATL, the whole program, that goes into more detail of why you don't need to worry about doing a lesson a week. And so that is why I want you to be careful to not be governed by the fact that it says day 1 do this, day 2 do that. Rather let those instructions just be instruction for you to keep progressing through the program, not actually to be guided by the actual days and time that it takes, because each one of your students that you're going to do the purple book with is going to take a different length of time for each to complete the book. As is the case with the other LLATL books, at the back of the parent book you've got your skills index, which shows you what the child is learning, what grammar or language skill they are learning with each lesson. That is a very helpful additional guide. And again, there are review activities and assessments, as well as enrichment activities in every single book and level of LLATL. So you don't have to worry about the certificates and how you're going to know when they finished a book and ready for the next level, because you would have done these review activities with them throughout the entire program, and you are going to establish from that whether they are ready to continue in the book or whether you need to hop back into the lesson and just re-establish some of the lessons to get full understanding. So it's all about getting your student to a point of understanding, not necessarily whether they are finishing the book in the time that you want them to finish it in. You're also going to be able to issue them with these assessments, ICANN assessments for the poetry unit. So they've completed the poetry unit and they can fill that out and you can put it in their portfolio. So here you have another review activity, and then lesson 19, at the end of lesson 19, a review activity. And so it goes on throughout the book. So you will easily be able to keep abreast with what your child is understanding. And then you're going to come across the assessments. And here you'll see this is assessment number 4. We are on page 193 of the program of this particular level. And this is the assessment for lessons 18 through to 21. And so your student will do this assessment, 2 pages, and you're going to know now, should we move on to the oral presentation section, or should we spend a little bit more time making sure that full understanding has been established up until this point in the book. So that is your purple book. I mentioned how Mr. Popper's Penguins was requested because of there being excerpts of it in the book and people enjoyed the story. Well, the students who were doing the LLATL Purple enjoyed the excerpts and wanted to read the whole book, so we managed to source it and put it into print for you. What also happened with that is once a student had read Farmer Boy, it's part of a series of books from the Little House series, Laura Ingalls Wilder, Little House series. And so people started inquiring of us if we had the whole box set, which we used to be able to get a few years ago, and then they put it out of print. So we have done all that we could to get this series back into print for you, and you will see it on the website under literature, all the books in the series for the Little House series. And so now this is what has happened as a result of a student reading just this one book from their Purple LLATL. They then want to read the whole series, and so we've got it available for them, and now they can read from book 1 all the way through to book 9 of the Little House set. So that's what happens with LLATL, and that's what we're excited about. It actually encourages reading and gets children excited about reading, and it's even better when there's a whole box set that is in a series so that that can really encourage and motivate even further reading beyond the books that they are reading for their lessons that they do in the LLATL book. So I do hope that you are going to enjoy doing the Purple book with your children, and I hope more that they're going to thoroughly enjoy it and they're going to love languages and learning and reading, because that's what it's all about. It's about loving to learn, and in this specific instance, it's about language. So I hope it's going to be a wonderful experience, and thank you for watching. Bye.